I remember saying that about 5 or 10 years before, that IT is basically India today and BT is Bharat tomorrow. The essence is biotechnology has a longer gestation time, and it takes years to perfect a technology, then again to showcase and for demonstration. But the IT and BT combined brings in bioinformatics. So that is the synergy between IT, that is information technology and biotechnology. So we have bioinformatics, which plays a very critical or a crucial role in many product development, like your drug development, drug molecules. Basically, bioinformatics plays a major role, because if you say 80% or 70% of the work is on the designing part or identification of the molecules is done through bioinformatics. So this is one venture which I would encourage the engineers and the biomedical scientists to join their hands in taking further. Now coming to the opportunities which the department or the government is providing so far in the S&T sector, and I will confine myself to the biotechnology area. Every ministry, Department of Science and Technology has a body which promotes a startup both in rural and in anywhere. For example, we are not confined to any regions. For example, Department of Biotechnology has BIREC, that is Biotechnology Innovative Research Opportunities, which they give soft loans without any collaterals. We have a Ignite program where proof of concept is to be showcased. In the Department of Science and Technology, we have Technology Development, where if you have developed a proof of concept, it is a much further. You can again get a soft loan from Technology Development. Then you have Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which has an agency called Nimitly, where also you can have support for developing a proof of concept. So the opportunities are there. They were existing, they are existing. It is only the entrepreneurship which is to be nurtured and basically promoted among the potential engineers, biomedical scientists. And I will give you certain examples. Hepatitis B virus vaccine was launched in India, indigenously made, about 2 decades before, which was basically 1/3 in price. Again, it is an example of a startup. There are many, for example, when you say the hepatitis B vaccine, now the various viral vaccines which are being developed, basically they are from a startup. There are many diagnostic kits, for example, tuberculosis diagnostic kits, indigenously made, and they are being made, and the cost is almost 50 to 30% less. So this is the example. You can have a benchmark of say global products and bring novelty, and if you start producing in India, the cost will be less. So this is what I wanted to showcase. I have given you one example, and as we proceed, would be happy to identify potential proposals or products for development and see how best they can fit in any of the government schemes. Thank you.
Thank you. So actually, I'd like to follow up on a question with both Mr. Praveen Roy and Dr. Rajesh Kapur. So one of the questions came from the audience. So if you look at, there is a perceived gender gap exists even in startup environment. And if you look at, there was statistics recently, I looked at it. If you look at the digital divide, I mean, the number of digital literate people in India, I think there's a huge gap between men and women. And similarly, in terms of innovation, there is a huge gap actually. And I myself a few times noticed, I thought I will ask this question. If you look at some of the promoting boards like Technology Development Board, and also government has set up a fund called SIDBI, which is a 10,000 crore fund. And recently, IT and Communication Ministry has set up a fund called Electronics Development Fund. So one thing I notice is that I have not seen any board member, or not many, representing women actually. So how do you address this actually? Because this is a concern, a lot of people have brought it up in various forums. And when you basically give initiatives, how do you make sure you try to address the gap actually?
Well, it is a difficult question, but we have been lucky in the sense that so far as biological...
I have to make it difficult for you so that it looks interesting.
See, in biotechnology or biological enterprise, one of the most successful story is from a lady entrepreneur.
Correct.
Who happens to hail from Bangalore, from this city. Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah from Bicon. She was the first lady who started his startup on enzymes, now graduated to a pharmaceutical industry. So that is, so far as I will confine myself.
I think in life science and biotechnology, sorry to interrupt, but has been the gap is not much. In fact, the innovation has been pretty high. But if you look at other areas, that's a concern.
I will try to deliberate on that. See, when, of course, this has a lot to do with our societal setup also. And how many women pursue higher studies and then have the knack of being an entrepreneur. If you look at the gender ratio, even men, how many, I do not have those statistics, but how many men who pursue higher studies tend to become entrepreneurs? The ratio is then how many women who pursue higher studies will become entrepreneurs. The ratio will be less. But again, persons becoming an entrepreneur, regardless of gender, is very less. That itself is to be promoted. And of course, when basically I must say that the proposal which we evaluate in terms of our scientific ministry is of course on the scientific merit and the innovativeness and what it is addressing. And there is no gender bias in that. That is all I can say.
Thank you.
Just to add on, Department of Science and Technology is having one scheme called Women Technology Park. So WTP scheme which is promoted by DST, and here women focus domains are promoted where they can go for become entrepreneur in that domain. And then we are working jointly with IIT Delhi. The program is WEA, Women Entrepreneurship. So these are some focus interventions that we are taking care of to promote women entrepreneurs in this domain.
Thank you. So I think with this, in the interest of time, we'll open the questions to the audience. Please feel free to raise your hands and yeah, I think the gentleman over there, please. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. So my name is Harsh Sungra. I'm the founder of My Child app. My question is to all of you that as we were discussing through the panel, there was a point where Mr. Ashok said that there should be a different set of support system for a person who is graduated and for a person who is experienced. I would like to ask you, what if a person is a dropout? And it has happened with me, I will tell you, I have a US and India registered company. In US, it took me 3 days to register a company. And in India, when I went to the ROC, he said, 18 साल की उम्र में company कैसे चलाओगे?
So can I just answer this question before?
Yeah.
In the venture capital, venture capital funds, we do recognize, as we speak, in fact, we just closing term sheet with one of the startup where the founders are, I think, out of 4, I think 3 are dropouts. So we do recognize, so that culture has percolated to India also, but I'll let others also to answer that.
Yeah.
So we do recognize that. In fact, I have come across a few startups where the graduates are dropouts, and this particular startup, I won't be able to name it because we have to complete some agreements. Yeah. They have done a fantastic job, and we validated through some of the people in the US they recognize their value. So we do recognize.
Yeah.
The idea matters. It's not your degree.
Thank you.
Just to respond to your question, it's a very difficult question. All generalized answers apply to a certain segment. We have no answers for people who are Bill Gates of tomorrow. So that's what I'll say. Best wishes to you.
Thank you.
And nothing will speak for your success than what he said.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, you start, there's no blocking. The doors are open nowadays. As I said, when I started, no, even the family will not give you 5 rupees.
Yeah.
But today people are willing to invest on programs and projects without looking who the person is. There's no gender bias and there's no education bias also.
Yeah.
Business is not driven by your education. So let us be very clear about it. Thank you.
I think this gentleman had a question. Please, maybe.
Sir, this is Professor Syed Mustafa from HKBK College of Engineering. One question regarding the DST panel member, where you know that DST asks for the students' projects and they fund it. As per the panel members' information, that 10 lakh rupees are given for the students actually through the incubators. And you know that when the students start doing the project in the final year, when they complete, the project gets over actually from them. So the passed out students, how they can carry forward, one. The second thing is actually, as the another panel member was saying, always the entry to these projects, the methods are complicated actually. The qualifying round, it's more complex actually in nature. They can reduce that complexity. That is another one. And sir said actually it's from the incubators we can get through this the funding. So could you elaborate that incubators, how we can approach them actually?
Though the incubator scheme is basically for academic setups, it is an institutional program, but it is open. Like most of the incubators are open to entrepreneurs who can come from outside. It is not like the students of that college or university are only eligible to join the incubators. So it is open to all. So whether it is school dropouts or so they can join the incubators, and if the idea should have some potential, this is evaluated by the screening committee in the incubator. And if they feel that they can work on this idea, then they allow the entrepreneur to be an incubator of the incubator. So we have different supports, like as you said, like at which stage you are, like the POC grant is the early support where you are having a concept and you are trying to validate the concept and bring a prototype out of that. So that POC grant is of 10 lakhs, which is already there. When you are at a bit mature level, you want to go for an incubation, so you have these incubators where you can have incubation for around 2 to 3 years, depending on the policy of the incubator. And at the later stage, you have accelerators that we are supporting. So at different stage, you have some kind of support which is there for you. So as such, I mean, you can just explore like what this 10 lakh support that you are asking for.
Yeah, the incubators, how do we approach them actually?
Yeah, you can, I mean, see, there are around 100 plus incubators that we have already supported.
Okay.
And every year we are trying to add 20 plus incubators in different domains, different sectors.
Okay.
So these are all listed on our website.
Okay.
It is there on the Startup India portal also.
Okay.
So you can just see the trust area in which they are operating. And if you can approach them directly with the area in which you want to operate, you have your venture.
Yeah.
So they can just, you have to go through the screening process that they are having.
Okay.
The department is not having any control in that.
Okay.
Sometimes we represent that committee, but they have an internal committee which sees the potential in the venture and then...
Is there any time frame, sir, that evaluation process with that incubator?
No. As such, it is totally on incubators. Like,
Okay.
whenever they have sufficient number of applications with them, they go for that.
Okay.
So we can
Thanks.
take it offline. I think Mr. Praveen Roy is here for some more time. Actually, we'll take one more question, and I think
Thanks.
after that we'll move on because I think we are waiting for the keynote speak. I think
Good morning. My name is Parameshwar Iyer, Professor Indian Institute of Science. I teach entrepreneurship, so I was very pleasantly happy to know that such a program is being organized, and must thank Madhumita for registering me. My point is this: the $1 million question is, when does one start up? Okay? I'm 63. I'm going to retire in 18 months. I'm going to start up in about 18 months. It's never too late to start up. Okay. No, thank you for the applause. I didn't say this for the applause. Coming to the question about women in entrepreneurship, that's a very, very difficult question to answer. I have 2 daughters. One studied at IIT Kanpur, other one studied here. And one is going to be an entrepreneur with me when I start my company. The other one is doing something in the Himalayas. You know what typically happens when a girl is studying, I went through it with my daughters, right? So if they want to do something better, पढ़ाई कर लो. पढ़ाई कर लिया, अभी डिग्री ले लो. डिग्री हो गई, she wants to start. नहीं बेटा शादी कर लो. शादी कर लिया. अब शादी कर लिया, हस्बैंड से पूछना पड़ेगा, हस्बैंड कहेगा, अरे एक बच्चा तो होने दो. बच्चा हो गया. एक बच्चा हो गया, बोलते एक और होने दो, और 10 साल हो गए. You are 45 years before you can even start up as a woman. Okay? And by that time you would have lost connection with whatever you had studied, whatever professional experience. So the question is very, very difficult, and believe me, I know many women here in Bangalore. There's an association of women entrepreneurs of Karnataka called Awake. Women are starting up post 50. That's about the time they get to be themselves. The kids are married, the husbands are taken care of. So I don't know the answer, but I reinforce the question that when does a woman start up? Even in this hall, as I look across, I see less than 5% of the audience being women. So why don't women get into this?
Excuse me, sir. Sorry for the interruption. I have a short announcement to make. The workshop on bulletproofing the startups is about to start in about 5 minutes. And the IBM Watson workshop has been moved to 12. So that's for your information.
So thank you. And I think with this, we'll wrap the questions because I think most of the speakers are here. You feel free to catch hold of them. You can ask most of your questions. And I think to Mr. Parameshwar, there are people like Ashok Suta who started companies at the age of 55. Again, he started another company at the age of 68. So age is not a bar either. So startup is not for only young people, just to make sure. So I'm sure all of you enjoyed. And like I said, please feel free to interact with them after the session. And I think, Dr. Kapur, you want to add
just
point?
a small suggestion to the startups. The gentleman over there, you mentioned about the process of applying to the incubator, or you are a prospective incubatee. See, just to have the concept, incubator is for incubation of a particular technology of your thought. Now, the thing is whether it is your own, and the other alternative is for technology diffusion from overseas. In your area, what I would like to propose as an alternative is technology diffusion. You get a technology diffused, have it incubated, and then take off. It's just a food for thought.
So I think Dr. Kapur, actually we need to wrap because I think the Chief Secretary has been waiting, and I think we'll move forward. Please catch hold of them at the end of the session. Okay, thank you, bye. Thank you.
Hold